welcome back to Ultimate Nonsense. I am David.
I'm Lindsay.
So, we have done classic horror, new day horror, action, couple other ones. Today we are doing classic movies. Our favorite top 5 classic films of all time. What classifies as a classic movie? Is it black and white?
Not always.
Very true. We got instant classics, but for me, classic movies, I'm focusing more on the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, some like around those decades in film. I mean, yeah, you got some classics of like the 70s, 80s. Even today, there's instant classics, but I think everybody knows, like Turner Classic Movies. I think everyone thinks of classics. They think of those type of films they show on that channel.
My number 5 classic movie is Meet Me in St. Louis in 1944. Huge fan of Judy Garland, so of course it's always a Christmas movie to me as well, even though a lot of people say it's not. Yeah. But if you think about it,
okay.
In my defense and in the movie's defense, one of the greatest, most iconic kind of Christmas movie or Christmas song came from that movie.
What's the song?
Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas.
The Have Yourself a
Yeah,
really?
It's in the title. Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas.
I didn't realize. I mean, I know you mentioned it, but I didn't realize it was.
And they wrote it just for Judy Garland. So, boom.
Alrighty. My number 5 is Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb.
Wow.
Truth be told, it's a very long title, but that is the actual title. That's a Stanley Kubrick film made in, I want to say 64. I'm sure I'm wrong. Somebody let me know, because I guarantee I'm wrong.
Huh.
Basically, when I first watched it, I was a student at the film school over in Los Angeles, and my instructor,
really?
That was the first time I ever saw it, yeah.
Wow.
When my instructor, he told us, oh, we have to watch this movie, it's mandatory, blah, blah, blah. And Dr. Strangelove was the movie that he had chose for me, or my group that I was with. And it was, oh man, I didn't know what to expect and what was in the movie or what it is. It totally threw me off guard, and it cracked me up. I thought it was going to be a serious, dramatic piece, and it's actually a comedy. Peter Sellers, dude, like, you really get to see his talent as an actor, because he plays not one, not two, but 3 different characters, all of like different races and ethnicities. Yeah, it's friggin' hilarious. George C. Scott, who played Patton, he's known as like a real tough guy and blah kind of a dude, or at least me anyway. But dude, he's friggin' funny in that movie as well. I mean, crack me up. I definitely say do your guys selves a favor and watch it, because every comedy, I mean, I don't even know what kind it would be, but every comedy that's based on that type of, I guess, satire, I mean, that was one of the first ones, and it's just hilarious. So I highly recommend it.
My number 4, To Kill a Mockingbird in 1962 with Gregory Peck. I ended up teaching the teacher about a couple things about that movie, because he thought it was all on location when actually it was all on a studio set. He didn't know much about movies, but yet he was our film teacher. So
well, see, a lot of it's like a lot of movies like were filmed on backlots. Not a lot were filmed on location back then.
Yeah, but we got into.
So I don't know why
we got into a big debate, and it was hilarious. But yeah, I'd have to say that's another one of mine. I like it.
You can't go wrong with Gregory Peck either. He's probably one of the greatest actors of all time.
Yeah, you really can't go wrong. I mean,
I just remember.
Look at Cape Fear.
Yeah, that's another one. Woo, that's a good one with Gregory Peck and Robert Mitchum. That's a good one. I just remember Boo, or was that the little girl's name, or the little boy's name?
It's a girl.
The girl, Boo Radley. I saw it once in high school.
Once? How come all the
I
movies
know.
I choose you see them
I
like
know.
once?
I know. All right. So my number 4 is another comedy. I'm seeing a pattern here with like my favorite classic movies. They all tend to be comedies. Most
That's
of
all
them.
he knows about classics.
Well, anyway, my number 4 is Some Like It Hot with Jack Lemmon, Marilyn Monroe, and Tony Curtis. For you younger audience, and I mean younger as in like our age demographic or even younger, if you've seen the movie White Chicks with the Marlon brothers, or I'm sorry, not the Marlon brothers, Marlon Wayans and what's the other one?
I don't know.
Sean Wayans, I think that's it. Well, anyway, the Wayans brothers, my bad.
There-
If you've seen White Chicks, that's basically what the movie is. Some Like It Hot is about two musicians. They witness a murder. They go into hiding by dressing up as women. And, of course, along the way, they meet Marilyn Monroe.
Tony
What-
Curtis falls in love with Marilyn Monroe.
One of them falls in love. It's basically... White Chicks is
Giving
basically...
the whole movie away, so there's no point in watching it. Well, my number 3, no point in talking about it too much, because we already brought it up. Some Like It Hot.
Oh, well, you should have told me.
So there's my number 3.
What'd you like about it?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're kidding me?
No. Why don't
Really?
you give us the history of what happened in real life between...
Marilyn Monroe got pregnant by Tony Curtis during the filming of that and actually had to get an abortion
Why'd you have to do that?
because Tony Curtis was married to, what's her name? Jamie Lee. No, that's the daughter. Jamie Lee Curtis is the daughter. She was in Psycho. What's her name?
I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. I don't know. Hollywood cover up right there, man.
MGM is known for so many
Yeah.
scandals. The only person that doesn't have a scandal is actually Greta Garbo.
You know, with all the problems that Hollywood is facing in today's world, there's a lot in the old Tinseltown days of Hollywood that, yeah, a lot of people don't know, but I'm sure they'll come out.
They already have. They have a book on it. MGM Scandals.
There you go. Plug. So my number 3 is In the Heat of the Night. With Sidney Poitier.
How do you say it?
I say Sidney Poitier. I'm sure it's wrong.
I say Sidney Poitier.
Yeah, close enough.
It's the same thing, I think.
Yeah, so that movie, another 60s movie, I'm pretty sure it won a couple things, like as far as Oscar or Academy Awards go. But that's a great movie. Deals with like the whole, racism in the southern part of America,
Black Detective.
especially during the 60s. A black detective down there assisting the police, the southern police, and I believe it's Alabama or Mississippi, one of those states.
Everyone knows the show.
Yeah, of course.
Bubba.
It spawned the show. It spawned the show, and that was huge. That was a huge success. But yeah, it was actually a movie at first.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a heavy duty.
Did you know Tibbs in the show actually was dealing with cocaine issues during the filming?
On the show or in the movie?
On the show.
Oh no, I didn't. I didn't watch the show that much.
I am full of useless information.
Ultimate nonsense. I know you and your mom loved it. My grandma loved it because my grandma
In the
loved this guy.
heat of the night.
My grandma loved this.
Bubba.
Yeah.
Ooh,
grandma was
my
in
mom
love
used
with
to say
Bubba.
Bubba was a tall glass of water.
Yeah, my grandma was in love with him. So, but yeah, the original movie.
It's like
Yeah, it's a good one.
Number 2 for me is Philadelphia Story, 1940, with Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn, and Jimmy Stewart.
Jimmy Stewart.
Yes. I am a huge fan of Katharine Hepburn, and I actually got to do this production in college, and I almost got kicked off the crew because they weren't doing it to my standards of what Katharine Hepburn would have wanted.
It is a college, by the way.
I find that movie hilarious, and Cary Grant is one of my all-time favorites. So, actually, I have a huge list of my all-time favorites and classics.
Yeah, this is a tough list for you, for sure.
But I managed to get through it. Like, 6 drafts later, I got my 5. But yeah, Philadelphia Story. I like that one a whole lot.
Can I tell you something without you getting super, super upset at me about?
No promises.
I've actually never seen it. So my number 2 is, I had this on a list, another list already. I believe it was Adventure, but my number 2 is Lawrence of Arabia.
A lot of sand.
It's not just one of my favorite classic movies, it's one of my favorite movies of all time, because it has everything I look forward into a really good movie, which is action, adventure, great characters, just everything.
Oh, a typical guy movie?
Yeah, kind of, yeah. I mean, it's no like 80s action flick, but it's definitely up there. I personally think it should have won every Oscar it was nominated for that year. But of course, I think maybe it won a couple, like 1 or 2 out of like the 7 or 8 it was nominated for.
My number 1, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, 1958, with Elizabeth Taylor and one of the most gorgeous men of all time, Paul Newman. Urgh.
Yeah, he was pretty. Okay, calm down.
It's hot in here now. Whew. The man is gorgeous. Anyway, pretty much a movie about really nothing. I mean, there's no huge plot. It's not a big mind kind of movie where you really have to think. It's just one family and they're dysfunctional. And you have just tiny little stories in between the big dysfunctional with, Big Daddy and all that. So here's a family, here's their story, and there's really no happy ending, there's really no ending, it's just a...
It's kind of like an ambiguous ending, would you say?
Yeah, it's kind of like what is that movie? Sidney Poitier as well. A Raisin in the Sun, where it's just following one family, although that one is more complex, but I think it would benefit a lot of people just to watch it.
Alrighty, so my number 1 classic movie of all time is a comedy. It's a...
Surprise!
It's a movie called It Happened One Night. It's with Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert.
And It Happened One Night.
And It Happened One Night. This also, I believe it's like, I think it's like one of my mom's favorite movies. It's also one of my Nina's favorite movies, like of all time. And God, it's again freaking hilarious. I believe the director was Frank Capra, who one of the greatest directors of all time. But what amazes me not only is this movie, but the time frame that they made it. It was made in I think like 2 weeks. Like it was made for a dirt cheap budget.
Some of the best movies happen that way.
Yeah, and so it's like it wasn't meant to be like a huge film, and it ended up winning. I believe it was Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Picture, Best Director. It won like every single award at the Academy Awards that year. Just killed it. And some of the funniest lines, some of the funniest scenes I think I've ever seen in cinema history is in that movie. Of course, there's like the hitchhiking scene that cracks me up still to this day. He has like different ways to hitchhike, and based on which one you do, basically means your success at getting picked up if you're hitchhiking or something. It's
and all she does is show a leg.
Yeah, and all she does is show a leg. Or one of my favorite lines too is when they're in the bus and the bus comes to a stop and she falls into his lap and he looks at her and he says,
"Next time you drop in, bring your folks."
Oh man, it's so freaking funny.
It's also very easy to get you to laugh.
Well, on lines like that, it's too good. So that's my number one. Yeah, if you guys have any suggestions on what else we should make a list of, leave it in the comment box below.